All right, guys, buckle your seatbelts. The great state of Texas. Boy, Texas has changed a lot, man. This ain't your grandpappy's and this ain't your daddy's Texas. Boy, Texas has changed. This is from Dallas Justice Now. They're a social justice group similar to BLM. But they're asking residents in this beautiful town of Highland Park, Texas, to take the college pledge. Now make sure you take the $5 challenge. Support the channel via PayPal, via Cash App, or the Super Chat. But on to this college pledge from the Dallas Justice Now. It goes, "Dear Miss Bianca Colgan, we are writing to you because we understand you are white and live within the Highland Park Independent School District and thus benefit from enormous privileges taken at the expense of communities of color. You live in the whitest and wealthiest neighborhood in Dallas. Whether you know it or not, you earned or inherited your money through oppressing people of color. However, it is also our understanding that you are a Democrat and supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement, which makes you one of our white allies and puts you in a position to help correct these cruel injustices. We need you to step up and back up your words with action and truly sacrifice to make our segregated city more just. We are asking you to pledge that your children will not apply or attend any Ivy League school or U.S. News and World Report Top 50 school. The audacity of these people. Wow. Just think about that, to ask somebody that. And many of these people are going to do it. They're going to, because they're so woke. Because once you go woke, it's a never-ending pit. Like wokeness, they never stop asking for stuff. They start with Pepe Le Pew and Speedy Gonzalez and the Washington Redskins and the Cleveland Indians. And then they end with your soul. Okay? So all you people that thought it was no big deal, when they made these little encroachments, these little seemingly small asks, thought it was no big deal. Well, now they're asking you to not send your kids to Ivy League schools and not send them to top 50 schools in the country because you're racist, you're privileged, and you got your money off the backs of black and brown people. Wow. It goes on to say, if you do not have children under 18, then we ask you to pledge to hold your white privileged friends, family, and neighbors with children to this standard. These schools have afforded white families privilege for generations. Having your children attend these schools takes away spaces from students of color who really need the job opportunities, education, and influence that these schools provide. What they won't tell you is if you're a black kid and you score 1,000 on the SATs, all these schools in the top 50 will take you over a white kid who scores a 1450 on the SATs, or an Asian kid that scores a 1600 on the SATs. They won't tell you that they hunting for black kids that qualify. Unfortunately, a lot of those black kids that they find are from other countries. Now, those other countries may be assholes, maybe crap holes, and those people don't know how to run their country, but they know how to come over to this country and succeed. They won't tell you that a black student don't have to take no AP courses, can go to a low-rated school, make good grades at a low-rated school, score 1,000 on the SAT, and these schools will fight over that student. They won't tell you that. But they go on to say, we know that this sounds like a tough commitment to make, but it is truly disheartening to see wealthy white folks sending charitable donations, posting Black Lives Matter on social media, or putting up yard signs as if to say that minimal effort is all they are prepared to do in the fight for racial justice. The quest for justice requires commitment from our white allies, and we thank you in advance for your anticipated cooperation in making such a commitment. Thank you for helping make our city more just. To sign the pledge, please visit www.dallasjustice.org. Sincerely. All right. So let's go. www.dallas.org. Now they got James Baldwin, who was an LGBT black man who was married to a white guy, on their homepage. That's very interesting. An LGBT African-American author who all he talked about was racism. I mean, everybody, cockroaches was racist, lint was racist, raindrops was racist, everything's racist with this guy. He's married to a white guy. Uses his quote, "Ignorance, allied with power, is the most ferocious enemy justice can have." Alright, whatever. Dallas Justice Now is a member-driven project of activists, researchers, and local leaders dedicated to making our city more just. So this is an open letter to wealthy white liberals of Highland Park from the Dallas Justice. Talk is not enough. Commit yourselves towards taking action and making sacrifices to correct centuries of injustice. Open up spaces for Black and Latinx communities. By refusing to send your kids to Ivy League and U.S. News and World Report top 50 schools, and encourage friends, neighbors, and families members to do the same. Imagine if those hundreds of thousands of spots at these institutions were occupied only by marginalized communities. Imagine the opportunities we can achieve truly equality within our lifetime, but only if white folks are willing to sacrifice their privilege. Wow. As a white person with privilege, both from my whiteness and my neighborhood, this is the pledge. This is the pledge they want you to say. They literally want white people to say this pledge. Before we get to the pledge, let's just look at this town, Highland Park. All right, here go the demographics. 91% white, 5.7% Asian, 2% biracial, and 0.53% other races. So they don't even have 1% black people. Not even 1%. All right, so let's go to niche. If you guys don't know niche is a great tool if you're moving to an area and you want to know what the area is all about. Very accurate information on these areas. And I'll stamp that from being a YouTuber, almost 6,000 videos in to my YouTube career. And every time I go to niche, it pretty much corresponds with what I know about these cities. I mean, I've done all these cities throughout the years. I've been on YouTube since, 2017? So I've done a lot of videos on these cities. It's rated as the 9th best suburb to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Public schools have an A+. What does that tell you? When public schools have an A+, we never see that with public schools, ever. It's always a D or an F. Maybe a C+, but never more than a D or an F usually. And A+ public schools, wow. Crime and safety is a B. Extremely high. Housing, B-. Nightlife, A+. Good for families, A+. Diversity, C+. They should have an F for diversity unless they're counting the 5.7% Asians as diversity. Highland Park is a suburb of Dallas with a population of 9,168. Highland Park is in Dallas County and is one of the best places to live in Texas. Living in Highland Park offers residents a dense suburban feel, and most residents own their homes. In Highland Park, there are a lot of bars, restaurants, coffee shops, and parks. Many retirees live in Highland Park, and residents tend to lean conservative. So they ain't taking that. What? You know what? You will think they wouldn't take that pledge, but Texas is flipping, man. Texas is flipping. Texas is going blue, man. The median home value is $1.5 million. Yikes. Median rent is $2,200 a month. Yikes. But only 17% of the population rents. Yikes. So these are wealthy owners. These people are invested in this community. Look at this crime. Per 100,000 residents. You have to remember that. This is per 100,000 residents. They have 54 assaults. The national average is 282. Per 100,000 residents, 0 murders. None. 0. Now, the national average is 6.1, but we know in Baltimore it's 58 per 100,000. Philly, similar. Chicago, about 30 per 100,000. St. Louis, about 50 something per 100,000. All of these democratically run cities, and the list goes on and on. There's tons of. See, I don't have all the numbers offhand, but it's very high in these democratically run cities. But the national average is only 6.1. So that shows you how little crime is going on outside of these democratically run cities. If all of them are 30 and above per 100,000, yet the national average is 6.1. So it shows you who's doing all the crime, all the murder. So now they do have a sexual assault problem here because they have 32.4 R words per 100,000, and the national average is 40.7. So they have a lot of that going on. But then robbery, $10.8 per 100,000, when the national average is 135.1 per 100,000. And in democratically run cities, it's infinitely higher. Wow. So they do have their share of burglaries. Burglary is closer to the national average. Theft is closer to the national average. Motor vehicle theft is about half the national average. But I want to go to this murder. No murder. None. None. Not even a little bit. So you ready for the pledge, Highland Park? All right. The pledge from the Dallas Justice Now. This is your college pledge, residents of Highland Park. Say it with me. As a white person with privilege both from my whiteness and my neighborhood, I recognize the need to make sacrifices for the purpose of correcting hundreds of years of murder, slavery, discrimination, and lack of educational and economic opportunities perpetuated upon people of color. I understand that access to top schools is a key component in economic and social advancement. Therefore, I commit that my children will not apply to or attend any Ivy League school or U.S. News and World Report Top 50 school, so that position at that school is available for people of color to help correct historical wrongs. If I do not have children under 18, then I will commit to encouraging my white privileged friends, neighbors, and family members with children to sign the pledge and holding them accountable until they do so. Have you been asked to take the pledge? Don't be a racist hypocrite. Sign the pledge today. Sincerely, Dallas Justice Now. Please note, Dallas Justice Now will be publicly announcing the names of those who have and have not signed the pledge. Wow. I don't think these people know who they messing with. These rich folk out in Highland Park know the law, man. You gonna mess around and get sued, Dallas Justice Now. Outing these people for not signing this pledge. Why don't y'all go to a community? And what's the neighborhood we did the other day? North Lawndale in Chicago. Why don't you go to North Lawndale in Chicago where they had 2 mass shootings within 5 minutes? And I think, 36 people have been killed this year in that one neighborhood, and 120 others have been wounded and survived just in that one neighborhood through 7 months this year. Why don't you go to North Lawndale, Chicago, and make them pledge to stop shooting people. See how that goes for you. See how that goes. Huh? Look at this. They ask for your name and your last name and your email. Will you take the college pledge? You got two answers. You can answer either I am a racist hypocrite or I agree. Those are your two answers. I am a racist hypocrite or I agree.